Welcome to the Fox Learn. The .NET Framework is a managed execution environment that provides a variety of services to its running applications. It consists of two major components: the Common Language Runtime, CLR, which is the execution engine that handles running applications, and the .NET Framework Class Library, which provides a library of tested, reusable code that developers can call from their own applications. The services that the .NET Framework provides to running applications include the following. Memory management. In many programming languages, programmers are responsible for allocating and releasing memory and for handling object lifetimes. In .NET Framework applications, the CLR provides these services on behalf of the application. A common type system. In traditional programming languages, basic types are defined by the compiler, which complicates cross-language interoperability. In the .NET Framework, basic types are defined by the .NET Framework type system and are common to all languages that target the .NET Framework. An extensive class library. Instead of having to write vast amounts of code to handle common low-level programming operations, programmers can use a readily accessible library of types and their members from the .NET Framework Class Library. Development frameworks and technologies. The .NET Framework includes libraries for specific areas of application development, such as ASP.NET for web applications, ADO.NET for data access, and Windows Communication Foundation for service-oriented applications. Language interoperability. Language compilers that target the .NET Framework emit an intermediate code named Common Intermediate Language, CIL, which, in turn, is compiled at runtime by the Common Language Runtime. With this feature, routines written in one language are accessible to other languages, and programmers can focus on creating applications in their preferred language or languages. Version compatibility. With rare exceptions, applications that are developed by using a particular version of the .NET Framework can run without modification on a later version. Side-by-side execution. The .NET Framework helps resolve version conflicts by allowing multiple versions of the Common Language Runtime to exist on the same computer. This means that multiple versions of applications can also coexist, and that an application can run on the version of the .NET Framework with which it was built. Common Language Runtime, CLR. Environment for controlled execution of programmed code like a virtual machine. Executes .NET applications. Framework Class Library, FCL. Standard Class Library for .NET development. Delivers basic functionality for developing XML, ADO.NET, LINQ, ASP.NET, WPF, WCF, WWF, Silverlight, Web Services, Windows Forms. SDK, compilers, and tools. Common Language Runtime, this acts as the execution engine for the .NET framework. All .NET programs executes under the supervision of CLR. Base Class Library, this is a library of functionalities which are available to all languages using the .NET framework. It consists of classes, interfaces of reusable types that integrates with CLR. Portable Class Library, the Portable Class Library project in Visual Studio 2012 allows you to develop and build managed assemblies that work on multiple .NET framework platforms. Using a Portable Class Library project, you choose the platforms, such as Windows Phone and .NET for Windows Store apps, to target. Managed Extensibility Framework, MEF is a library for creating lightweight, extensible applications. It allows application developers to discover and use extensions with no configuration required. You choose the platforms, such as Windows Phone and .NET for Windows Store apps, to target. Dynamic Language Runtime, this provides the runtime environment for dynamic languages like Python etc. for executing under the full control of CLR. WinRT or Windows Runtime APIs provides the user interface elements for building Windows Store apps, and provides access to Windows 8 or Windows Root OS features. WinRT supports development in C and other managed languages C# and VB.NET, as well as JavaScript and TypeScript. ASP.NET, this is used to build rich internet-based web application. Windows Store apps, Metro-style apps. A Windows Store app is a new type of application that runs on Windows 8 devices and can take advantage of new WinRT APIs. These can only be distributed in the Windows 8 Store. Desktop apps, Windows Forms. A Windows desktop app is traditional Windows Forms application with a new name. Software developed for Windows XP, Windows Vista, and Windows 7 will be categorized as a Windows desktop app when running in Windows 8. Examples of Windows desktop apps are Microsoft Office Family's products, Notepad etc. WPF is used to create applications with a rich user experience. It includes application UI, 2D graphics, 3D graphics, and multimedia. It takes advantage of hardware acceleration of modern graphic cards. WPF makes the UI faster, scalable and resolution independent. Silverlight, this is a cross-browser web-based technology which allows designers and developers to deliver rich internet applications, RIA, embedded in web pages. ADO.NET, this is used to create data access layer to query and manipulate data from underlying data source like SQL Server, Oracle, and DB2 etc. LinQ, this allows you to query the data from the various data sources, like SQL databases, XML documents, ADO.NET datasets, various web services and any other objects such as collections, generics etc., using a SQL query-like syntax with .NET framework languages like C# and VB. ADO.NET Entity Framework, this is used to query and store data into the relational databases, like SQL Server, Oracle, DB2 etc., in ORM fashion. Parallel extension, this allows you to distribute your work code across multiple processors to take advantage of the hardware. WCF, this is used for building and developing services based on WS standards. ASP.NET Web API. ASP.NET Web API is a framework for building HTTP services that can be consumed by a broad range of clients including browsers, mobiles, iPhone, and tablets. CLR. ASP.NET CLR is a library that simplifies the process of adding real-time web functionality to applications. Real-time web functionality is the ability to have server code push content to connected clients instantly as it becomes available, rather than having the server wait for a client to request new data. WF, this is used to build process-oriented business workflow and rules engine. Visual Studio 2012, the Visual Studio IDE offers a set of tools that help you to write and modify the code for your programs, and also detect and correct errors in your programs. Using Visual Studio 2012 you can build Windows Store apps, desktop apps, mobile apps, ASP.NET web apps, and web services. Managed Execution Environment controls the execution of managed .NET programming code. Something like virtual machine. Like the Java Virtual Machine, JVM. Not an interpreter. Compilation on demand is used. Known as just-in-time, JIT, compilation. Possible compilation in advance, NGIN. Execution of the IL code and the JIT compilation. Managing memory and application resources. Ensuring type safety. Interaction with the OS. Managing security. Code access security. Role-based security. Managing exceptions. Managing concurrency, controlling the parallel execution of application threads. Managing application domains and their isolation. Interaction with unmanaged code. Supporting debug/profile of .NET code. CLR executed code is called managed code. Represents programming code in the low-level language MSIL, MS Intermediate Language. Contains metadata. Description of classes, interfaces, properties, fields, methods, parameters, etc. Programs, written in any .NET language are compiled to managed code, MSIL. Packaged as assemblies, .exe or .dll files. Object-oriented. Secure. Reliable. Protected from irregular use of types, type-safe. Allows integration between components and data types of different programming languages. Portable between different platforms. Windows, Linux, Mac OS X, etc. No protection of memory and type safety. Reliability problems. Safety problems. Doesn't contain metadata. Needs additional overhead like, e.g. use COM. Compiled to machine-dependent code. Need of different versions for different platforms. Hard to be ported to other platforms. CLR manages memory automatically. Dynamically loaded objects are stored in the managed heap. Unusable objects are automatically cleaned up by the garbage collector. Some of the big problems are solved. Memory leaks. Access to freed or unallocated memory. Objects are accessed through a reference. Low-level language, machine language, for the .NET CLR. Has independent set of CPU instructions. Loading and storing data, calling methods. Arithmetic and logical operations. Exception handling. Etc. MSIL is converted to instructions for the current physical CPU by the JIT compiler. Net assemblies. Self-containing .NET components. Stored in .dll and .exe files. Contain list of classes, types, and resources. Smallest deployment unit in CLR. Have unique version number. .NET deployment model. No version conflicts, forget the DLL hell. Supports side-by-side execution of different versions of the same assembly. Metadata in the .NET assemblies. Data about data contained in the assembly. Integral part of the assembly. Generated by the .NET language's compiler. Describes all classes, their class members, versions, resources, etc. Configurable executable .NET units. Consist of one or more assemblies. Installed by copy/paste. No complex registration of components. Different applications use different versions of common assemblies. No conflicts due to their strong name. Easy installation, uninstallation, and update. CTS defines the CLR supported types of data and the operations over them. Ensures data level compatibility between different .NET languages. e.g. string in C# is the same like string in VB.NET and in J#. Value types and reference types. All types derive from system.object. .NET languages by Microsoft. C#, VB.NET, Managed C++, J#, F#, JScript. .NET languages by third parties. Object Pascal, Perl, Python, COBOL, Haskell, Oberon, Scheme, Smalltalk. Different languages can be mixed in a single application. Cross-language inheritance of types and exception handling. Visual Studio is powerful integrated development environment, IDE, for .NET developers. Create, edit, compile, and run .NET applications. Different languages C#, C++, VB.NET, J#. Flexible code editor. Powerful debugger. Integrated with SQL Server and IIS. Strong support of web services, WCF, and WWF. Visual programming. Component-oriented, event-based. Managed and unmanaged code. Helpful wizards and editors. Windows Forms Designer. WCF/Silverlight Designer. ASP.NET Web Forms Designer. ADO.NET/LINQ to SQL/XML Data Designer. Many third-party extensions. Thank you for watching this video.